grade 9 students. HALINA'T MATH-TUTO. So for today's lesson, we will discuss about proves the conditions for similarity of triangle, specifically special right triangle theorem. For the objectives of our lesson, so at the end of the lesson, the learners are expected to, number 1, illustrates special right triangles. Number 2, prove the special right triangles. And number 3, solve problems involving special right triangles. For the most essential learning competency, we have proves the conditions for similarity of triangles. So we have the special right triangle theorems with the code of M9GE-IIIG-H-1. So let's now discuss special right triangles. Let's discuss the isosceles right triangle. So pag sinabi nating isosceles right triangle, the legs of the right triangle are congruent. So kung halimbawa, itong leg na to ay 7, ang isang leg ay magiging 7 din. The longest side in a right triangle is called the hypotenuse. What is isosceles right triangle theorem? In an isosceles right triangle, the length of the hypotenuse is equal to square root of 2 times the length of the leg. Let's prove the 45-45-90 degrees triangle or the isosceles right triangle. So we have here a square, and we all know that a square is both equilateral and equiangular. Pag sinabi nating equilateral, all sides are congruent. Okay? So kung mapapansin nyo, ang bawat side ng square measures 1 unit. And it is also equiangular, meaning each angle ni square measures 90 degrees. Okay? If we draw a diagonal, then the square is divided into two congruent right triangles. Okay? Ang diagonal din ang naghati dito sa dalawang 90 degrees angle. Okay? So, hinati niya ngayon into two congruent angles. So, ito'y magiging tig 45 degrees. Okay? So, meron na tayo ngayong dalawang 45, 45, 90 degrees right triangle. Okay. So, ngayon, ang kailangan nating hanapin kung ano man ang length ng ating hypotenuse. So, kapag ang pinag-uusapan natin ay sides ng right triangle, okay, unknown sides ng right triangle, we need to use the formula ng Pythagorean theorem. So, we have c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Okay? Since na yung a at b ay legs ng right triangle, so parehas ang value nila na 1. So we have c squared is equal, ang a natin is 1, so we have 1 squared plus 1 squared. So c squared is equal to 1 squared, that is 1, plus 1 squared, that is also equal to 1. So c squared is equal to 1 plus 1, that is 2. Get the square root of both sides. So square root ni c squared ay magiging c na lang kasi makakancel na to. So c is equal to square root of 2. Now the ratio of the sides of a 45-45-90 degrees triangle is 1 is to 1 is to square root of 2. Next, so we have here the pattern formulas. So pag sinabi natin pattern formula, so ito na yung ating shortcut method. So kung halimbawa ang nawawala yung hypotenuse, then ito lang yung ating formula na gagamitin. So hypotenuse is equal to leg times the square root of 2. Ngayon kung nawawala naman ay leg, so we have here the formula 1/2 of h times the square root of 2. Okay, so di na tayo maglo-long method. Okay? So, basta alam natin, yung formula na to, madali na sa ating makompute kung ano man yung missing side ng 45, 45, 90 triangle. Let's have some example. So, we have your h is equal to leg times the square root of 2. Okay? Now, so ito yung ating given na triangle. Okay? So, kung wala yung markings, kung sa given triangle wala yung markings, okay lang as long as nandito yung ating angle. Okay? So, ito din yung nagsasabi sa atin kung anong special right triangle ba yung ating sinosolve. Okay? So, given here, ang leg ay 5. So, we need to get the value of x. So, dahil ang isang leg ay 5, so, ibig sabihin, ito din ay 5. Okay? Now, para makuha natin yung value ng x o yung ng hypotenuse, so, we have here h is equal to leg times square root of 2. So, ang given leg natin ay 5. So, 5 and then copy square root of 2. So, we have here 5 square root of 2. So, ito yung ating final answer. Next. Okay. So, ang ating given leg naman ay 8. So, again, ang nawawala ay ang hypotenuse. So, dahil ito ay 8, ito din ay 8. So, balikan natin ang formula. So, h is equal to leg times square root of 2. Okay? So, ano yung given leg natin? Okay, that is 8. So, h is equal to 8 square root of 2. Ang lagi niyong tatandaan na ang hypotenuse ay katapat ni right angle. Okay? Let's have another example. So, we have here, okay, a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Given ang hypotenuse, so nawawala ang leg ng right triangle. Okay? So, para makuha natin ang leg ng right triangle, babalikan natin yung ating formula kanina. So, we have here h is equal to leg times the square root of 2. Since given ang ating hypotenuse na 15 square root of 2, so we have here 15 square root of 2 is equal to leg times the square root of 2. Okay? So, para makuha natin yung leg, divide both sides by square root of 2. Okay? So, cancel dito, cancel dito. Ang leg is equal to 15. Okay? So, 15 to. Ang length nito, 15 din ang length nito. Okay? Next. Ayan. Given na naman ang hypotenuse. Pero ang hypotenuse natin is 20. So, para makuha natin ang length ng ating leg, okay? So, we have h is equal to leg times the square root of 2. Since na ang ating hypotenuse is 20, so we have 20 is equal to leg times square root of 2. So, divide both sides by square root of 2. So, cancel dito. Leg is equal to 20 over square root of 2. Now, eto na ba yung ating final answer? Hindi pa. Kasi, ang ating denominator is a radical. So, we need to rationalize it by multiplying both the numerator and denominator by the denominator. So, multiply natin, okay, by square root of 2 over the square root of 2. Okay? So, 20 times square root of 2, that is 20 square root of 2. over square root of 2 times square root of 2, that is square root of 4. Now, what's the square root of 4? Okay, correct. That is 2. So, leg is equal to 20 square root of 2 over 2. So, 20 divided by 2, leg is equal to 10 square root of 2. Okay? So, ito ngayon yung ating final answer. Next. Okay, so let's discuss the 30, 60, 90 triangle. So, pag sinabi nating 30, 60, 90 right triangle, the length of the hypotenuse is twice the length of the shorter leg or the side opposite of the 30-degree angle. And the length of the longer leg or side opposite ng 60-degree angle is square root of 3 times the length of the shorter leg. Okay? So, let's prove the 30, 60, 90 degrees triangle. So, given an equilateral triangle, so pag sinabi nating equilateral, all sides are congruent. So, kung halimbawa, ang isang side ay 2 units, then the other sides ay tig 2 units din. It is also equiangular. So, pag sinabi nating equiangular, all angles are congruent. So, based sa ating given na triangle, bawat isang angle, it measures 60 degrees. Okay? Now, if we draw an altitude, then the given triangle is divided into 2 right triangles. Ang altitude din ang nagsisilbing angle bisector ng 60 degrees na to na nasa taas. So, meaning, itong 60 degrees na to ay madidivide into 2 congruent angles. So, ito ay magiging 30 degrees. Ito ay magiging 30 degrees din. Okay? So, tingnan natin itong side na nasa baba. So, meron tayo ditong midpoint. So, ang midpoint, it divides the given line segment into 2 congruent segment. So, since ang ating given dito ay 2, so meaning ito ay 1, ito din ay 1. So, meron tayo ngayong dalawang 30, 60, 90 right triangles. Yung isang blue at isang green. So, ihiwalay natin yung isang right triangle. Okay. So, ang side opposite ni 30 degrees, ang tawag natin dyan ay shorter leg. Ang side opposite naman ni 60 degrees, ang tawag natin dyan ay longer leg. And the longest side and the side opposite ng 90 degrees ay si hypotenuse. So, balikan natin yung measures kanina. Ang hypotenuse ay 2 at ang shorter leg ay 1. So, nawawala sa atin ang length ni longer leg. So, para makuha ang length ni longer leg, we need to use the Pythagorean theorem. So, we have c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So, sabihin natin na si A, si longer leg. So, ang ating C ay ating hypotenuse which is 2. So, we have here 2 squared is equal to a squared plus ang ating b na 1. So, we have 1 squared. So, 2 squared that is 4 is equal to a squared plus 1 squared that is 1. Combine like terms, so we have a squared is equal to 4 minus 1. So, a squared is equal to 4 minus 1 that is 3. Get the square root of both sides. So, a is equal to square root of 3. So, ang length ni longer leg ay square root of 3. So, the ratio of the sides ng 30, 60, 90 triangle ay 1 is to 2 is to square root of 3. So, let's have the 30, 60, 90 degrees triangle pattern formula. So, ito yung ating shortcut method. Okay? So, kung ang nawawala sa atin is the shorter leg, then shorter leg is equal to 1/2 of the hypotenuse. So, kung halimbawa naman, ang hypotenuse ang nawawala given the shorter leg, then yung value ni shorter leg ay dodoblehin lang natin. Okay? So, to get longer leg, so we have longer leg is equal to 1/2 of the hypotenuse times square root of 3. Or simply, we can say that longer leg is equal to shorter leg times square root of 3. Okay, so let's solve some examples. So, given here, the hypotenuse which is equal to 14. So, para malaman natin kung anong formula ang gagamitin natin, kailangan natin tignan kung ano yung given angle. Okay? So, dito ang given angle is 30 degrees. So, meaning, para makuha natin yung unknown value, we will use the 30, 60, 90 degree triangle formulas. Okay? So, given ang ating hypotenuse na 14, so we need to find out the lengths of the shorter leg and the longer leg. Okay? So, based sa ating formula pattern kanina, shorter leg is equal to 1/2 of the hypotenuse. Since na ang ating hypotenuse ay 14, so shorter leg is equal to 1/2 ng 14. So, ano ba yung kalahati ni 14? Okay? So, shorter leg is equal to 7. Okay, madali lang, hindi ba? Okay, next. Let's find out the longer leg o yung ating variable y. So, longer leg is equal to shorter leg times square root of 3. So, substitute lang natin. So, longer leg is equal to ang ating shorter leg na 7. So, 7 square root of 3. So, ito na yung ating sagot. Okay? So, para ma-check natin kung ang ating longer leg nga ay 7 square root of 3, then, we can use the Pythagorean theorem. So, sabihin natin ulit na si longer leg ay si A. Okay? So, we have C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. So, ang C natin ay 14. So, 14 squared is equal to A squared plus ang B natin, yung shorter leg na 7. So, we have 7 squared. So, 14 squared, that is equal to 196, is equal to A squared plus 7 squared, that is 49. Combine like terms, so we have A squared is equal to 196 minus 49. So, A squared is equal to 147. Okay? Now, get the square root of both sides. So, A is equal to. So, ano ba yung isang factor ni 147 na ang isa doon ay perfect square? So, we have 49 times 3. Ano yung square root ni 49? Okay, that is 7. So, A is equal to 7 square root of 3. Okay? So, kung makikita nyo, parehas lang yung ating sagot. So, ito ang ating, kumbaga, shortcut na. Let's have another example. So, given ang ating shorter leg, so we need to find out the length of the hypotenuse and the longer leg. So, kanina, para makuha natin ang shorter leg, so we have shorter leg is equal to 1/2 of the hypotenuse. So, meaning, para naman makuha ngayon yung ating hypotenuse, dodoblehin natin ang shorter leg. So, hypotenuse is equal to 2 times shorter leg. Okay? So, hypotenuse is equal to 2 times ang ating shorter leg na 6. So, 2 times 6, ang ating hypotenuse ngayon ay equal kay 12. Okay? So, ito yung ating sagot. Now, hanapin naman natin kung ano ang length ng ating longer leg. So, yung ating variable y. So, longer leg is equal to shorter leg times square root of 3. So, longer leg is equal to, ang value ni shorter leg ay 6. Then, copy natin square root of 3. So, we have 6 square root of 3. So, ito na ngayon yung ating sagot. So, don't forget that in a 45-45, 90 degrees triangle, the length of the hypotenuse is equal to leg times square root of 2. In a 30-60, 90 degrees triangle, the length of the hypotenuse is twice the length of the shorter leg, and the length of the longer leg is square root of 3 times the length of the shorter leg. That's the end of our lesson. So, thank you for listening.